Have you been busting your butt trying to build muscle, but nothing is working? You work out, you take a ton of supplements, but still nothing is giving you those beautiful muscles that you so desire. So what gives? You may not be focusing on these 3 key nutrients that your body needs in order to build muscle. I'm going to fill you in on exactly what those nutrients are and how you can get them in. Helping women to build muscle is one of my favorite things, and to even do it for myself. Back in my bodybuilding days, I was able to build 12 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks. I'm going to share with you how I did this in this episode. I can't wait to share this with you, so let's jump in. So before we get into today's episode, I want to share with you a free resource, which is my Facebook group. That's called Female Sports Nutrition. You can find me on Facebook, but I will drop the link below for you. And this is a group of like-minded women who really want to get over disordered eating, get past body image issues, and really focus on fueling their body for their sport, their activity level, and really just be happy with their bodies and have great performance in the gym. So I want to invite you to my Facebook group. All you have to do is just click the link below. I post lots of good information throughout the week, and we even have some good accountability questions for you to help you with wherever you are. If you have not joined the group, I would love to see you there. Do you wish you could look like you train as much as you do? Are you sick of scouring the internet for sports nutrition tips only to find information tailored to men? Do you wish there was a simple solution to fueling your body for your activity level? Are you ready to find freedom with food? It is possible to have balance between fueling your body for your sport and for enjoyment, and it's not as complicated as you may think. Can we say hello, food freedom? There's a way to have it all and eat your cake too, and I'm going to show you how. Hey, I'm Kristen, a former multi-sport athlete, a sports dietitian, personal trainer, and Jesus lover. In this podcast, you will find practical, sustainable fueling tips for female athletes that will set you free from diet culture, an ever-changing set of nutrition rules, under-fueling, and underperforming. You'll learn how to put together a fueling plan that works for you, that doesn't require all the rules, tracking every morsel of food you consume, letting food consume your every thought, with Jesus at the center of it all. If you're ready to find a sustainable nutrition plan that works for you with your active lifestyle and is tailored to your unique physiology, break free from diet culture, and finally feel comfortable in your own skin, this podcast is for you. Whip up that smoothie, lace up your shoes, and let's jump in. Let's talk about the 3 muscle-building nutrients that you need when you are strength training. Number 1, you probably guessed it if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, is you need to eat enough calories, carbohydrates, protein, and fat. This is first and foremost. If you are not eating enough, then this is where you need to stop the podcast, and this is where you need to focus your efforts for right now. Most female athletes are going to need between 2,000 and 3,000 calories a day. And that probably sounds like a crazy amount, but it's really what your body requires. So I'm going to use myself as an example back when I was doing bodybuilding and I was training for a figure competition. At that point in time, I was only eating probably in the neighborhood of like 1,500 calories a day. And I was really afraid to actually increase my calories, but I knew that I needed to. So I increased it to 1,800. I was a little scared thinking, oh my gosh, 1,800 calories is a lot. I had to keep increasing it because I was so dang hungry. And you know what? I got up to almost 3,000 calories a day. I was at probably around 2,800 calories a day. And that is a lot of food. I mean, it really became somewhat of like a job to make sure that I was getting in all that food. But at the same time, I loved it because I love food and I love to eat. So if you are active, if you are lifting weights and you are not increasing your calories, you are not in that range of 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day, that is where you need to start right now. Now, at the same time, we need protein, we need carbohydrates, and we need fat. So protein needs for a female athlete that is doing resistance training is going to be 1.6 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. So if you were to take your weight in pounds and divide it by 2.2, so I'm just going to use an example here of 150 pounds. 150 pounds divided by 2.2 equals 68 kilograms. We're going to multiply that by 1.6 to 2 grams. So 1.6 would be 109. and 2 grams would be 136 grams. So 109 to 136 grams of protein per day. You could use that whole 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day, but honestly, that is like the top end of what you need. So I really don't think that's like a good starting place. I would stick between the 1.6 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. Now, if you don't know where in the world you are in terms of your protein intake, just go ahead and log it for a couple days. If logging for you is a trigger, then what you could do is you could actually just write it down on a piece of paper and then go back and use something like Chronometer to figure out how many calories and how many grams of protein that you're taking in per day. Now, your fats and your carbohydrates are also important. Fat is responsible for hormone production. Carbohydrates are responsible for energy. Fats are too. They're just a secondary source to carbohydrates, but carbohydrates also make up a portion of your muscle. So it really kind of boils down to your overall calorie amount that you need as well as your protein amount. So if this is something you're completely confused on, go ahead and reach out to me. Sign up for a free, no obligation consultation, and we can figure out where you are, what your goals are, and then we can kind of get you started. We can set up a consultation for you where we can determine exactly how many grams of protein, carbs, fat that you need, and then break it down so that you're not counting calories all the days of your life and are just miserable. So that is the first step. If you are not eating enough, you need to stop and start there. Number 2 is creatine. So creatine is, you can have it in a supplement form, but you also just get it from meat sources. And this helps to build muscle, especially muscle size and strength. This is especially true for women that are over 40, because once you hit that age of 40, which is unfortunately where I am now, it makes it harder for your body to build muscle and maintain muscle. So that creatine is going to help with building and maintaining muscle, but it also is going to help prevent muscle loss. It can also enhance bursts of power and speed, also help with muscle recovery. All these things are great benefits of creatine. Like I said, you can get creatine from food. You do not need to take a supplement, but if you are 40 and over, it might be beneficial for you to take a supplement just because you're going to be having a harder time maintaining your muscle mass and building muscle. So just to kind of put this in perspective of how much that you need, 5 grams of creatine per day is really about what you would need for a creatine supplement. You don't need to do the loading phase. Just taking 5 grams a day is totally sufficient. So what that looks like in terms of food, a food source is 17 ounces of beef equates to 5 grams of creatine. So 17 ounces of beef, I mean, that's a pretty significant amount if you're spacing that out over the day. So if you are not eating 17 ounces of beef over the course of the day, then maybe a supplement might be your best bet. But creatine is going to be synthesized or made from amino acids, which comes from protein that you eat. So honestly, just making sure that you're eating enough protein throughout the day is going to be sufficient. When I was building all that muscle for my figure competition, I honestly did not take creatine. I really didn't take any supplements at all. It was just straight up through food. So I am here to tell you, you do not need to take all these supplements in order to build muscle, but these are the key nutrients that you need from food. So you need meat, you need fish, eggs, dairy. These are all great sources of creatine. You can get creatine from beans, lentils, tofu, but as you might have imagined, it is far less than if you were to eat it from meat. So I'm kind of a big fan of eating meat. Next up is branched chain amino acids. So we're specifically looking at leucine from branched chain amino acids because leucine is kind of like flipping on a light switch to turn on muscle building. So it's going to increase your muscle, and you really need to eat leucine in order for it to give you the most benefit. There's actually some studies done on leucine supplementation that shows long-term leucine supplementation really doesn't do much benefit to you versus just eating protein, because you're going to get amino acids from protein that you eat in your diet. So leucine and branched chain amino acids, Well, branched chain amino acids make up about 35 to 40% of all essential amino acids in your body, and 14 to 18% of those are found in your muscle. So there's 3 branched chain amino acids. Leucine is one of them. So basically what branched chain amino acids are going to do is they provide your muscles with energy. They're going to make them less sore and help them to recover. They will activate enzymes that help to build muscle. But like I said, taking them in a food source is always going to be preferred over a supplement because, one, it's going to be more easily digested and bioavailable to your body. But 2, the research just really shows that eating it from food is going to be better than taking it from a supplement long term. So where do you get branched chain amino acids? Again, meat, eggs, fish, dairy. These are all great sources of branched chain amino acids. And there's really actually no specific amount of BCAAs that you need per day, but simply just eating enough protein throughout the day is going to be sufficient. Now, if you're vegetarian or vegan, you may be wondering, well, what about me? How can I get in these branched chain amino acids? So certainly you do get some from beans, lentils, tofu, those types of things, but it's not nearly as much as eating meat. So if you are vegetarian or vegan, you will probably want to include a branched chain amino acid supplement. If you're not sure which brand to start with, I really like Thorne's brand of branched chain amino acids. I really like Thorne products, to be quite honest with you. So I'll drop a link below for that as well. But just know that eating meat sources of branched chain amino acids is always going to be preferred. And that's really the case with all of these. If you listen to this whole episode, you'll know that just eating enough protein is going to give you enough branched chain amino acids, enough creatine, enough protein that you need, as well as carbs, as well as contribute to your overall calories for the day. But let's not forget about our friends, carbohydrates and fats. Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you, encouraged you, or changed you, I would love for you to leave me a review and share it with a girlfriend who will find it helpful or inspiring. That is the best way you can thank me and help me share my knowledge so I can help more people just like you. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me today, and I'd love to connect with you. Join my Facebook group, Female Sports Nutrition, or send me a DM on Instagram, or hop on over to my website, EliteNutritionPerformance.com. I'll see you back here next week.